Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to Fair Face Fail Productions. So, I just want to do a quick little update. Got the GPX FSE 300R put together, and still planning on doing a full setup video. I shot some with the 300, but I think I'm going to do the full video on the 250E just because there's really no differences, and I was in kind of a bit of a hurry to get this one together. So yeah, we'll talk more on that subject later, but for now, here she is. So it's quite a nice bike. I really enjoy pretty much most things about this bike are pretty easy to both put together as well as they look like it's built pretty well. Now there's a few things that I already don't like about this design that I'll talk about. So I have to say my number one not favorite thing about this whole bike is how this handguard situation works. So the handguards that come with the GPX Moto, it's a good thought, and I like the idea. Beta also comes with this like flag style kind of handguard. It's not something that I plan to use permanently. I just kind of threw it on here because, well, we had it. The issue is that this plastic part at the top is part of the pin that goes through your brake lever and or clutch lever on the other side, and is the bottom nut. So this is a terrible design because if you over tighten this, then your brake lever doesn't want to go back. It'll put too much pressure and pinch it. But yet it's still floppy. So I'm not a fan of that design at all. And if I want to use other handguards like I'm going to, you still got to kind of, ideally, I guess, leave this in place is the idea. I don't know. I plan to get a washer for this and then get a standard nut for underneath. That way that this is just not here. This is one of my least favorite things. I hate this whole thing. And you can see that it's the same way on this side. It's not quite as bad on this side. I didn't notice quite as much of the annoyance with this side. You can see it still is that nut. So we'll probably be replacing that. The other thing in the wall, when I was putting this together that I really disliked in pretty much every way is this side cover. Now I get it, you probably don't take this panel off often, but underneath on this side is where all your wiring is for your turn signals, as well as the running light if you're gonna add that. And really the issue is that this panel is an absolute pain in the butt to get on and off. There's just a couple of screws that hold it together, which that really isn't a problem. I don't care about screws, but there's plastic ledges in here, or lips in ledges, I guess, that have to all slide into each other, while this has to slide back into this bodywork here. And I hate it. That's a terrible design, and maybe that's a KTM holdover. I hear that KTM plastics from certain years fit these, but this is awful. Like, it's just not ergonomic at all. And the last thing that I would say is probably my third number one gripe so far about this bike is the seat. I'm not talking about comfort. I actually think this is a pretty comfortable stock seat compared to my Beta over there. That's an awful seat. And then you have old school Suzuki, which is super comfortable. What I'm talking about is the seat coming on and off. I've gotten very spoiled with Beta having a push button release for the seat. It's literally, you can take it off with one hand. There is no fiddling with screws or anything else. The thing that I hate about this seat is that there are two posts into the tank that have to slide with this seat forward. So you finagle with trying to bend this down in the middle and hold the top part to slide the seat up on both those nuts. And oh god, it's so obnoxious. And then back here, there is, of course, a single screw that goes all the way across and screws the seat down. That I don't have a problem with. That's pretty simple. In fact, at first I was like, hey, that's not too bad. But overall, this front part is pretty bad. My Beta over here, well, just for comparison's sake, like, pop, and then it just moves out the way. You can rotate it, you can slide it. There's one little hook at the front, and that's it. So you just set it back down and push the button and snap it back in place. And this one's actually a little bit harder because of the big gas tank on it. Overall though, I love the bike. The build quality is really good. In fact, getting the turn signals and stuff set up on it was relatively simple. I'd made a dumb mistake where there is a front and rear turn signal. One has like a 3-inch longer cables on it, and the fronts don't. It's really hard to tell at first, and didn't realize I made that mistake till it was too late, and I had to take the whole thing apart again from the front headlight assembly and the rear side. So, but dumb mistake on my part. The rest of the assembly was pretty easy, and we'll get a video up. Like I said, we're gonna have a full from uncrating to putting everything together of the FSE 250, and there's really no differences between the two as far as putting them together. So we'll talk about the things that I really like about the bike so far. The entire aesthetic, I have not started this yet, so this will be a first start video too. The whole aesthetic of the bike looks pretty awesome, and it's really great quality. I'm a huge fan of the suspension already. I set sag for myself earlier, and that was pretty much all I did. But you can just getting on it, it feels nothing like a dual, like your standard normal dual sports from Japan. You already you can feel that there's more quality up in that suspension for sure. So another thing that I really like is that it comes with, of course, you've got your fans. Looks like I got a little bit of coolant that I left over there. It's got a built-in fan on your right-hand side that's automatic, of course, temperature-based. But yeah, everything about this is pretty nice. You can see the fuel injection in here. Some of the sensors. Oh yeah, I was talking about the suspension a little. Compression, rebound, they're fully adjustable in all. Compression, rebound, and spring is all adjustable, so that's pretty awesome. You don't usually get that on a bike that's right around the $5,000 to $6,000 point. I like that it also comes with the ability for you to turn off your light, so the light goes all the way to the off, low beam, high beam. That's pretty awesome. Comes with a horn, of course, so these become completely and totally ready to be street legal. And just like my Beta, you do have adjustments for the top of the forks, and it has air bleeders. That is something that my Beta does not have. So that's pretty cool too. It comes with the factory for an insert for the spark arrestor type dealio. I'm sure maybe a lot of people won't use it, but I know using this whole thing in off-road, on-road, whatever else, I stuck this in here. So that's a nice addition. Another downside is that it doesn't come with a whole mounting bracket or anything to mount up your plates. So I'm probably going to drill it just for a couple of holes and then bolt down my whatchamacallit, license plate. Oh, some other strong points is pretty cool is it does have an overflow bottle. That is super nice. So get in there and check that out. There's an overflow bottle, which my Beta doesn't have. It just pukes coolant out whenever I get real hot. A lot of people talk great things about engine ice because it doesn't boil as soon, but what engine ice does do is it still expands a lot when it gets hot, and I puke it out all the time in the Beta. I honestly regret going to it. I'm gonna go back to a 50/50 mix as soon as I can. But overall, like this is a pretty good quality. Everything back here, these connectors and stuff, they honestly look in some ways better quality than the connectors on my Beta. The Beta from the 19s and older, I think, really just didn't have good connectors. Some of my connectors feel so crappy that I have to zip tie them together. But that's kind of over time and abuse and other things, so maybe that's an unfair comparison. Another thing that I wasn't a huge fan of was how the wiring, I guess, hooked up for the turn signals. So it's just plug it in, very flimsy kind of metal, male and female connectors. They're not good. It's pretty weak, and I feel like those are going to come out at some point, especially with jarring around and whatever. I'll probably end up soldering the joints together or maybe using real crimps. I think I would have liked to see either real crimps or legit plugs. So like another full connector plug that snaps together. I think that would be a great addition to these for ease of, a lot of people buy these in the crates and they put them together. I think for ease of plugging them in together, label them, make it a connector. I think it's just going to be way sturdier over time if they do that. Another positive is it comes with a disc protector, which is, just a plastic protector, but I suppose most of them are. I got no complaints there. It looks pretty decent, and I think it's definitely better than nothing. Another positive of these bikes is they come with a decent skid plate. It's pretty thick plastic. I don't know what exact material, of course. I wouldn't expect anything super high quality, but we'll get another look at the other side of it. So you can see it's got linkage protection. Pretty basic, you know, you can still hit all the way back here. But yes, that's certainly better than I don't think I've seen any stock bikes that really offer good protection. In fact, my Beta still has the stock skid plate on it from the factory, and it does not have linkage protection. So, and it's a thinner material, way thinner material. I've been meaning to do a, I've been meaning to get a better skid plate for some time, but it's definitely done its job though. Of course, you can see some the water pump. I think the water pump's pretty exposed. I think I'd like to make something that covers that up a little bit more, especially being a rental. They're gonna get dropped. I would like to see that. Oh, the frame is, you know, I don't know if that's a powder coating. It looks like a powder coating of some sort, but I do like that. It looks quite nice. So I don't know how durable it'll be, but I got no problems with that. And then, of course, your little expansion chamber thing for the exhaust. I always thought those were gimmicky, but I suppose it's there. Kickstart's nice. So Meeker Extreme has kickstarted his. I don't know how necessary it is these days, but a lot of people complain about it. So I feel like companies can either win or they don't. I don't think there's no winning when it comes to that conversation. People want a Kickstarter. Some people don't, think it's a waste of weight. Well, it's there and it does work. All right, we'll give it a first start. Now, I didn't put very much gas because I don't know how old the gas is in my gas can back here, and I'm pretty sure it's not 91 octane. So I just threw enough, hopefully, in there to get me to the gas station, or hopefully enough to start. All right, sound like picking up some fuel. All right, there you have it. So just wanted to do a quick start. So started up first time. I had not started the bike yet. So just basically threw some gas in and fired it up. Now, when you do put these together, I did have to add a pretty significant amount. In fact, I used like half a bottle of 50/50 antifreeze in the radiators because from the factory, I guess, I'm not even sure if they put coolant in them. I'm pretty sure it did have coolant in it. I could see, you know, the remnants thereof, but it took most of the bottle, so I'll make sure that gets heat cycled. Don't keep an eye on the coolant level. Oil-wise, you know, everybody talks about the garbage Chinese oil, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to break it in for a few hours, probably no more than 3 to 6 hours on its first oil change, and then it's going to go in the garbage anyway, or recycled, or whatever they do with oil. But anyway, from the factory, it came about almost 1,000 milliliters low, so almost a full quart or a full liter low. So I think its capacity is like 1.7 liters, close to 2 full quarts. So yeah, it was pretty low on oil. And that at this point in time, like most of the oil is actual good oil anyway. So, but yeah, be sure to check your oil and coolant levels when you buy one of these, if you buy one of these, because you don't want to trust that stuff from the factory. Also, word of advice, just go through all the nuts and bolts on this thing and just kind of make sure they're tightened down. Don't over tighten them. Tried not to make that mistake because I usually do. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Meeker Extreme already has a ton of videos on the 300. I'm going to be doing the same kind of review stuff on this one as we get it broken in, so on and so forth. I'm going to be adding new handguards. I know Mark went with the Highway Dirt Bikes handguards, which I absolutely love, but you got to go to new handlebars and yeah, I don't want to deal with that right now. So I'm going to go with probably my flag style, these Icera rebound handguards that I've had on both of my bikes. They've taken some pretty wicked falls and been amazing. So I think we're going to continue that trend. But for an MSRP of right around $6,000, I think this is a fantastic choice. I don't think it could go wrong. Everything looks like it's built very well. Not to mention Gary at GPX Moto, they do guarantee these bikes. They send out parts as fast as they can if you ever have any issues. I've been quite impressed with that. All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.